Hello guys, welcome to part 2 of my Zense tutorial. Today we'll be working on the verse. Just to clarify, it goes something like this. Alright, so to teach you guys this, first I'm going to teach you guys the chords, and then I'm going to teach the melody plugged, and then I'm going to put the two together. So skip times are in the description below if you already know the chords, or the melody, or both, and you just want to figure out how to put them together. It's totally okay. Skip ahead. Alright, so first the chords. This part is just 4 chords actually. So there's B major chord, which is fingered with 3rd finger on 4th fret on the G string, and then 2nd finger on 3rd fret on the C string, and then 1st finger barring the 2nd fret on E and A strings. So it's kind of like a B flat chord shifted up 1 fret, if that helps. The next chord is an E major, which is like a D major moved up 2 frets. It's 2nd finger on 4th fret on G string, 3rd finger on 4th fret on C string, and then 4th finger on 4th fret on E string, and then you take your 1st finger and put it on 2nd fret of the A string. That's E major. Now this next chord's very similar. You leave your 1st and 4th fingers together, but you move these 2 fingers in the middle. You put your 2nd finger on 3rd fret on the C string, and your 3rd finger on 4th fret on the G string for a G sharp minor chord. And then last chord is F sharp major, which, as the name suggests, is an F chord moved up 1 fret. So you take your 3rd finger, 3rd string on 3rd fret rather on the G string, 2nd finger, put it on 2nd fret on the E string, and then bar totally across the 1st fret on all 4 strings for an F sharp chord. So in order, it goes E, then G sharp minor, F sharp major, and then that repeats again. And that last little bit repeats again, so it's G sharp minor, F sharp major, E again. And it leads into the pre-chorus. So if I were to put a strum pattern to that, of what I'm doing throughout the arrangement, it'll be something like down strum, and then just keep repeating little thumb plink on the G string, and then kind of an upstroke with my index. So like, and just keep doing the thumb, upstroke, thumb, upstroke, thumb, upstroke, until I change chords. And a lot of the times when I change chords, rather than just doing a straight down strum, I do kind of a spread kind of stroke with these 4 fingers on my hand. It's not really something you need to do, but something I just like to do in my arrangements. Something like Alright, so that's all the chords you need to know. So let's just run through the verse and see how it goes. So, start off on B major. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember it's the E major here. It's G sharp minor, F sharp major, and then E again. And this whole chord pattern repeats, so just play it again. B major, G sharp minor, alright, and these last three chords repeat again, so it's G sharp minor, F sharp major, then E. Yeah. Alright, so a little bit about what I'm doing there then. Is, since it's leading into the pre-chorus, which I would say has more energy than the verse, so I would say the latter has more energy. So it's just kind of building into it. So I'm going from the whole thumb, pluck, up, where I do 4 standard strums. I do an upstroke, then down, up, down. With my technique, I tend to do a rather sudden, aggressive upstroke. Then I use these 2 fingers to do an accented downstroke, just to give it a bit more punch. It's not really required, but it's just, again, something I like to add to my arrangement. So, and that takes you straight to the pre-chorus. Alright, so those are the chords, pretty simple, nothing too hard. Alright, here's the melody here. Basically what I was just humming. Alright, but I've simplified this melody for ease of putting onto the chords later. Especially in the... I found it a little hard to do that. So if this melody doesn't exactly match what you're hearing in your head, that's why. So, it's a lot like the chords we were just playing in terms of where we put our fingers. So, take your first finger, put it on the second from the E strings, and just kind of lay it down, create that little bar. So it's E, A, E, E, then you pluck E again. You put your pinky on 7th from the A string. It's 7, 6, 4, 2. And then here's the part where I've simplified it. 2, this is all an A string. 2, 4, 6, 4, 6, 7, 6. 6, 4, 6, 7, 6, 4, 2. And it repeats again with slight variations. So I just put this little on 3, 4, 3 as a hammer-on pull-off on the C string. It's not really part of the melody, but it's something I like throwing in there. And it's, again, the 2 on the E, then 7, 6, 4, 2. And then 2, 4, 6, 4, 6, 7, 6. 6, 4, 6, 7, 6, 4, 2. And that last bit, again, repeats. So that, now you know the chords of the verse, and now you know the melody. So now it's time to put them together. So Basically, you'll just be fingering the chords and moving your pinky along to the melody. So I realized that we were doing or things like that using a different 4 fingers, but primarily you'll be using your pinky to pluck out the melody. So this may actually cause your left hand to kind of hurt if you do it for a long time. So if you notice that your hands start hurting, put your glove down, rest a bit, or play another song. You don't want to wear out your hands. So we first start in B chord, and you just kind of finger that. It's all in the B chord shape, so you don't need to move your left hand, but remember the melodies. But that first note is technically a pickup note, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I like to keep the chord for the 1 downbeat, if that makes any sense. So I go pluck, then I strum the whole chord as kind of a thumb thing. So it's pluck on E, then strum all 4 strings with your thumb, then 1. I kind of do a little hit on the G string. It just kind of adds a bit more to the arrangement. It's not really part of the melody, so you want to play that a little bit softer than the rest of the song, but I think it adds just a bit more to the arrangement. And next is the 2 melody notes. And then there's a little bit of pause, I guess, between and the. So I go. I just kind of put in the strum pattern I was doing earlier. And then I do that, which is pluck on E. Then I put my pinky down on 7th fret and strum all that with my thumb, and do upstrokes on 6, 4, and then strum down on the E chord. So do that slowly. 2nd fret on E string, and then shoot down your pinky onto 7th. Strum it all, and then move your pinky down to 6th fret, and kind of shoot up with your index. Then move your pinky down to 4th fret, shoot up with your index, and then change to an E chord. Alright, and again, since there's kind of a pause in the melody there, just keep doing it. And that takes us to the next little bit in the melody. So again, it just starts on the position of the chord, so you don't need to move your left hand initially. And then I'm moving my pinky into 4th fret, and just plucking that. And this is a chord change, so you move into G sharp minor, except instead of fingering it like this, you want to finger this shape with your 2nd finger on 4th fret on the G string, 1st finger on 3rd fret on the C string, and then 3rd finger on 4th fret on the E string. And you want to have your pinky on 6th fret, because that's the next melody note. And doing it with this fingering would be a little bit hard. So, the melody here is, and that's all on this chord, so I'm strumming down and doing the rest with upstrokes basically. So it's 6, 4, 6, 7, 6. And then you change these fingers into the F sharp chord, which you'll remember is 3rd finger on 3rd fret on G string, second finger on second fret on E string. And then you don't necessarily need to bar it, because it's... You never actually hit this note, so you can just put your first finger on the C string on first fret. And then you have your pinky. This is a bit of a stretch, so again, if it starts to hurt, put your ukulele down for a while, pause the video. Don't force your fingers to work, because that might not end well. So, put your pinky on the 6th fret. And again, you do the upstrokes with your index. So it's the 6, 4, 6, 7, 6, 4, and then you do a downstroke with your thumb on E chord. And then you repeat that again. That last little bit with the G sharp minor. So really, once you have that first little bit down, you have the whole verse down, which is good. And if you look at the original song, that verse, there's 2 verses. So if you learn the first verse, the first half of the first verse more like, you've learned the first verse and the second verse in one go, so that's nice. Alright, so let's play through this whole thing slowly. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's the verse of Zense. So that was great. So please stay tuned for the third part of Zense. Next time I'll be working on the pre-chorus.